It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
We have Ari Fleischer, former White House press secretary. Ari, first, let me just get your reaction. Did you hear that the FBI director just came out and was waffling as to whether President Trump was shot or not? I mean, this is crazy.
Well, first, let me say hello. Thank you for having me on to everybody, including Tony Carbonetti.
How are you, brother?
We all love you, Ari. We all love you.
That caught my ear as soon as he said it.
What would President Bush have done if the head of the Secret Service did not go to that site that night, Ari?
Well, actually, I don't care what the head of the Secret Service goes to visit or not visit. I care more about whether they're competent. And everything we saw about the former director of the Secret Service told me she was not competent in the way she handled it. Just think about how Christopher Wray answered a few questions, and she refused to answer any. Yeah. That was all the difference in the world. And I've seen this with law enforcement, unfortunately, where they just have a clam-up mentality. And I would fight with them sometimes. I say, you got to say something. You got to give the public something. Don't give away things that are sensitive. But that was my real big beef with her, not to mention the fact she oversaw an agency that absolutely failed to protect a presidential candidate. Yeah,
no question. What did you make of the FBI director now opening the window about maybe it's not a bullet that hit President Trump? What do you think of that?
Yeah, that was fascinating to me. I don't think it matters whether it was shrapnel or the bullet itself. The president clearly got hit, and his ear was clearly bleeding. And whether it missed him by an inch or missed him by 10 inches, does that matter? Now, it'd be nice to just know the facts about everything, so that is an important note whenever we do get the final report from these guys. Hopefully they're going to have that information.
Yeah, I agree. You know, Ari Fleischer, all these protests are still going on because Benjamin Netanyahu is still in town. He's still in Washington. The protests have been going on forever, but they're really, ramping up. And I found it incredibly distasteful last night when we saw the American flag being burned and taken down from right outside of the Capitol, right there at Union Station, and they put up Palestinian flags. Luckily, they replaced it. Some Republican congressmen replaced it. But what's your reaction that we're not hearing enough, I think, from leadership saying, don't do this?
Just for the emotional, visceral level, I cannot wait for Donald Trump to win. And that way we deport these idiots. I mean, it's that simple to me. If you are not an American citizen and you come to this great country on a visa and you burn our flag, you have no right to be in this country.
And I
Joe
hope
Biden won't do anything about it. I have full faith and confidence Donald Trump will deport them.
I hope that one of our federal agencies, whoever took all those pictures on January 6th, have taken similar pictures yesterday.
Yeah, there's all kinds of video cameras, and first of all, we have 23 arrests, so we don't even need to see their face. We have their fingerprints. The 23 need to be tracked. We need to see if the Biden Justice Department is prosecuting them the same way they prosecuted others who engaged in trespass or attacked police on Capitol Hill on January 6th. Are these 23 hooligans going to get 3 years, 5 years? Or are they going to be right back on the streets tomorrow to protest again?
You know what happened, Ari? And you reminded me. Remember when there was the big issue at Hamilton Hall in Columbia, and the people who were, quote, holding people hostage, blocking, destroying. And I'm not talking about the peaceful
let them all go.
Yeah, yes, that's my point. They arrested them, so they had their address, they had their information, fingerprinted them, and then suddenly, quietly, a few months later, they let them go and claimed they didn't know who they were, but they had their information when they arrested them, Ari.
That's exactly right. And that was New York City. That was the DA of New York City, Alvin Bragg, of Manhattan. And now we have a federal matter. But the federal government has a track record here. What did they do to the people on January 6th who attacked the police? If they do anything less to these people than they did to the people on January 6th who attacked the police, once again, it's more of an example how this is a politicized Justice Department.
No question. Ari, before we let you go, I also want to hit on President Biden's speech last night. It was painful. What did you think?
Well, it was a lack of a speech. It wasn't a speech. It wasn't an address to the nation to explain why he decided not to run again. It was a political endorsement that he snuck onto the network. They otherwise never would have carried the thing, or they shouldn't have. He never took responsibility for why he was announcing he was leaving. The honest thing would have been if he had just said, I looked at the polls, I can't win, and therefore I'm pulling out, and I want Kamala Harris to win. That's what this is all about. It was such an empty speech. And if everything in America is as good as he was saying in that speech last night, then why was he losing?
Yeah, and he never said health had an issue. He didn't say he was pushed out. Ed Cox.
Every time he asks for time, Ari, you can be sure he's going to deliver a political speech rather than something that's governmental. That's what he is. His State of the Union was one flat screed, political screed.
But you notice how NBC, ABC, CBS, the networks that never want to give away programming, they all rush to cover him. And they'll do it again because the Democrats have that type of advantage with the mainstream media.
Yep.
Yeah, boy. You know what's interesting? Who was it? House Speaker Johnson said he didn't pass the torch. He got the torch ripped right out of his hands. I thought it was a powerful analogy. Your thoughts?
But, it's amazing how well Trump is doing. The fact that Kamala Harris, with this kind of multimedia boost and the press that she is getting, that Donald Trump continues to run ahead of her in virtually every poll since Harris became the named nominee.
Ari.
It really is a testament to, one, Trump's strengths, two, Harris's weaknesses. And if this is the best she's got when she's riding this high, it really makes me feel very good about Donald Trump's chances for November. Now, Trump's got to do everything right. He can't blow himself up. He can't make mistakes. He's got to take her seriously. Mm-hmm. He cannot say things about her that cost us even more women's votes. But this race is very winnable. Harris doesn't improve things much for Biden and for the Democrats, but she does improve things a little.
But by Sunday, she'll be Mother Teresa. You know that. Okay. They're already removing everything on the websites where she had the second most liberal voting record. All of that's going to be forgotten. She will be middle of the road for the people. She'll be saintly by Sunday. Yeah.
Yep. Republicans always have to work twice as hard. I mean, this last 3 weeks where the press went after Joe Biden was an aberration in American media coverage. And the only reason they went after him, the mainstream media, was because they were convinced he was going to lose to Trump. So they became activists playing a role in our system instead of reporters covering our system. They helped dump Joe Biden. That way they could get anybody else, because they're still their central goal is to defeat Donald Trump.
And that was clear that Trump was going to be winning big time by mid-June before the debate. His mistakes in the debate gave them a good reason to push him out.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, they were reading the tea leaves. Ari Fleischer, thank you so much. We love having you on.
Thank you, guys. Great to be with all of you. Tony, you too.
Take care.
Thanks, Ari. Bye, Ari. Thanks so much.